Hey everyone, so let's talk about how a state is really built. Forget the simple timelines you see in textbooks. Today, we're asking a bigger question. Who are the true builders of a place like Andhra Pradesh? We're going to frame this whole story as a massive structure, a pyramid, built by generations of people. So let's get right into it and start at the very foundation.
This powerful idea really sets the stage for us. First, in Telugu, Andhra Swatantriyam Tupakulato Kadu, Alochanato Thyagamto, Raitula Poratamto, Praja Ujjamamto Wachindi. And in English, Andhra freedom didn't come from guns alone. It came from ideas, sacrifice, farmer struggles, and people's movements. Now, this isn't just some old quote, right? This is basically the mission statement, the core blueprint for the entire state we're about to explore.
So, let's really run with that idea of a blueprint. If a state is like this grand building, then who actually designed it? Who were the people mixing the concrete and laying the bricks day in and day out? And who came along later to engineer all the modern stuff we see today? That's the real question we're digging into.
To help us get our heads around this, we're going to use this one central idea, the People's Pyramid. Just picture it, a structure built up in layers. It all starts with this massive, wide foundation of ideas and struggle. And then, on top of that, each generation adds its own layer, building higher and higher.
Okay, so let's start where you have to start, at the very bottom of our pyramid, the foundation itself. This is the era of the big idea, and the fight to make that idea a reality.
Every great project needs a plan, a blueprint. And you could say the political blueprint for an Andhra state was drawn up by people like Rao Bahadur Kovelamudi Gopalakrishna. When he founded the Andhra Mahasabha way back in 1913, he wasn't just expressing a wish. He built an institution, a real organization designed to turn a cultural dream into a serious political demand.
But a blueprint is just paper without some serious courage to back it up, right? An idea needs a champion, a symbol that people can rally behind. And for this movement, that was Tungaturi Prakasam Pentulu, the Lion of Andhra. His famous act of baring his chest to British guns, that wasn't just bravery, it was a powerful statement that inspired thousands and gave the movement its moral fire.
But here's the thing. This foundation wasn't built by just one or two guys, not even close. It was this huge collective effort. You had leaders like Alluri Sitaramaraju fighting for tribal rights. Dugirala Gopakrishnaya was mobilizing people through non-cooperation. Kanaganti Hanumantu was leading economic resistance. And you had pioneers like Durgabai Deshmukh working to reform institutions from the inside. Every single person, every movement, was another critical stone being laid in this deep, strong foundation. All right, now we move up to the next crucial layer of our pyramid, and this one was cemented not with mortar, but with an incredible sacrifice. The whole mood shifts here because the price of actually creating the state was about to become very, very real.
58. On its own, it's just a number on the screen. But this number holds the key to the entire story of how Andhra's state was finally born out of all that struggle. Those were the 58 days that Paddy Sri Ramalu fasted, ultimately giving his life for one single demand, a state for Telugu-speaking people. His death was the catalyst. It was a personal sacrifice so huge that it completely forced the hand of the national government. It turned the demand from just another political debate into something that absolutely could not be ignored any longer. And the result? It was immediate and undeniable. The sacrifice had worked. The arguments were over. The movement now had its martyr, and the nation had no choice but to respond. Andhra State was officially formed, a direct outcome of this one ultimate act of protest.
So, the state is born. The foundation is set. But a pyramid needs its upper layers, right? The focus now shifts completely. It's no longer about creating the state, it's about developing it. It's about everything from feeding its people to connecting it to the entire world. And you can literally see these new layers being added to our pyramid over time. First up, you have the agrarian foundation, championed by leaders like Acharya N.G. Ranga, who made sure the rural economy was strong. Then, on top of that, N.T. Ramarao added a whole new layer of cultural pride and welfare politics. Next came the layer of economic modernization, with Chandrababu Naidu pushing IT and e-governance. And then, leaders like Y.S. Rajasekhara Reddy built a massive layer of social welfare, zeroing in on health and education. Each era added its own distinct, absolutely crucial piece to the whole structure.
So, we've built our pyramid, from that early freedom struggle at the base, all the way up to the modern, high-tech economy at the top.
But this brings us to what might be the most important question of all. Why does any of this history matter today? And who can really stand up and claim to own this pyramid?
Okay, so let's just bring it all together. Our People's Pyramid looks like this. 1. The foundation was laid with the ideas, the struggle, and the sacrifice of the freedom fighters. 2. The main structure was built by the hard work of farmers and rural communities who really stabilized the new state. And 3. The capstone, the modern finish, was added by the political leaders who came later.
And that right there brings us to the crucial point, the main takeaway of this entire story. Freedom fighters laid the foundation. Farmers stabilized the state. Leaders modernized it. And the conclusion from that is inescapable. No single individual owns Andhra Pradesh. It belongs to every single one of its builders.
And this is where the responsibility comes back to us, to every citizen. Because when we forget this messy, complex history, it's easy for history to get twisted into simple propaganda. Our shared identity becomes shallow, and democracy itself is at risk of becoming just a personality cult. But when we remember all the builders, power stays where it's supposed to be, with the people. Leaders are kept in their role as servants, and the future becomes what it should be, a shared responsibility.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. When the people who actually live inside the pyramid forget about all the different hands that built it, from the very foundation all the way to the top, do the leaders of the day start acting less like architects and maybe a little more like kings?